Good morning. Thank you for gathering again. I think you know who I am, but I did want to, with your help, update the public as to where the operation and the investigation is at. The first thing I want to say is that it is with sadness that I advise that the number of people who have died in this awful event has now risen to 50. As of last night, we were able to take all of the victims from both of those scenes, and in doing so, we have located a further victim. So that brings the number of those who have died to 50. I also want to say that the number of injured is also 50. 36 of those remain in Christchurch Hospital, where they are being treated with the utmost care and professionalism by medical staff. 2 do remain critical, and we also have 1 child being well looked after at Starship Hospital in Christchurch. In terms of the people that we've spoken about that have been arrested, as you know, the 28-year-old male appeared in court yesterday charged with murder and has been remanded till the 5th of April to appear in the High Court. You will also know that 2 other people were apprehended at a cordon during this operation, and a firearm was seized from them. Now, one of those persons, a woman, has been released without charge. The man in that vehicle has been charged with firearms offences. At this point, we do not believe that they were involved in these attacks. Some of you will also be aware that another man was arrested as a result of this investigation. What I can say is an 18-year-old man will appear in court on Monday, but that arrest was tangential to this matter, and we do not believe that he was involved in this attack either. Further to this, I can say, and you would have seen in media reporting, that a list of victims' names have been shared with family. Now, that list was compiled as a result of work done with victims and with senior religious leaders, and was done to give some certainty to victims' families. This is not a formal list, and we will be unable to share exact details of victims until they have been formally identified. That part of the investigation and response is continuing as quickly but as professionally as possible, and we will keep you updated. In terms of security right across the country, the New Zealand Police and other emergency services remain absolutely vigilant to keep all of New Zealanders and everyone who lives here or visits here safe from harm. In terms of the security we have around mosques around New Zealand, that will continue until we believe there is no threat. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer questions if I can.
Where was that new victim found? Which mosque?
At the Niels Avenue Mosque.
And were any bystanders or people who weren't inside the mosque killed in this?
It's difficult to be conclusive, but my understanding is that even those that were killed outside that mosque were visiting the mosque.
And you said you retrieved all the bodies. Have those been released to the families yet?
No, so that's where the process of what we have to do is determine the cause of death. So we've been working with pathologists and working with coroners and the chief coroner to complete that process. We have to be absolutely clear on cause of death and confirm their identity before that can happen, but we are so aware of the cultural and religious needs, so we were doing that as quickly and sensitively as possible. No, but we are moving through that as professionally but as quickly as possible because we absolutely feel for the victims of this tragedy.
Can you explain why the 4 people were arrested on the day? What their reason for being arrested was?
Yes, absolutely. So you've all seen online video of the arrest of the 28-year-old. He was stopped because he was believed to be a direct threat. Our staff acted with absolute courage in intervening and had to use some force and deploy with our tactical options to make that happen. But again, they put themselves in harm's way to stop any further attack, and I do believe they did prevent further attacks. The 2 I spoke of earlier were stopped at a cordon. They were arrested because they were in possession of a firearm. There will be a charge before the court on that, but of course we had to do everything we could to assure ourselves and the public as to whether or not they were related to this attack. The 4th person from Papanui area went to, I think, assist children in the area to get them safely, but did decide to arm themselves, which is not the right approach.
So all 4 were carrying firearms. Do you know where those firearms came from? Were they all licensed?
We're working through those matters, yes.
So at this point, it's just one attacker who was involved in this incident?
At this moment, only 1 person has been charged in relation to these attacks. I will not be saying anything conclusive until we are absolutely convinced as to how many people were involved. But we hope to be able to give that advice over the next few days.
In terms of that attacker, is there more clarity on how he obtained the firearms licence? Was it through a licence he had in Australia, or was it through the process that's available to residents of New Zealand?
We're working through the absolute detail on that, but I can tell you that it was a New Zealand Arms Act firearms licence which he obtained in 2017 in New Zealand.
And in terms of the modification of the weapon that's been mentioned, did he modify an ACAT MSSA beyond that of ECAT components, or did he turn it into an automatic weapon?
Look, we're still working through that, but it's quite obvious that he modified a Category A firearm.
What can you tell us about the 2 police officers from Lincoln who made the arrest?
Those 2 police officers acted with absolute courage. I'm so proud of what they've done. They've prevented further deaths and again risked their own lives to do so. It's what police officers come to do every day, but at the same time it's my job to make sure that they have the equipment and the safety equipment to keep themselves as safe as possible.
How are they doing? Are they still working?
They are overwhelmed and humbled by the feedback that they are getting. If you ask them, they will tell you they were just doing their job.
What sort of ranking were they?
I'm not going to go into their identities, but they're being given lots of support. But their identities will be made known at some stage.
Was the government's manifesto sent to police prior to the attack?
Not to police and not prior to the attack. Was forwarded to us sometime during the day, obviously by some of the recipients, but not at a time prior to the attack.
Would police like to see a ban on gun sight for semi-automatics?
So we're working through that as we speak. We've been working through that for some time. We work with government in this space, and I think you'll be hearing more on that today from the Prime Minister and others.
How many acts could the 28-year-old potentially be charged under? We're talking Crimes Act, Terrorism Suppression Act. Are there any others?
Yes, absolutely. So we're considering all those, but of course we'll work towards the Crimes Act charges as a priority. I've already spoken about how many victims of these attacks there are. That will obviously present itself in the charges.
And how many counts under the Crimes Act are currently laid? How many counts of murder? Is it
Just one at this stage. Of course,
one?
that will change.
Can you say anything more about how you believe the 28-year-old travelled from Dunedin to Christchurch, when and how?
No, we're working through that right now, but as you know, he was in a vehicle.
What sort of support is being offered to the families?
We have a very large contingent of ethnic liaison officers working with religious leaders and other religious support people to give every assistance to those people. We have family liaison teams. The people that we've got involved in this, people like Deputy Commissioner Wally Homaha, Rakesh Naidu, Wendy Rubilliard, Mark Harrison, have been deeply involved in giving support to families around the Christchurch earthquake. So they're very experienced in this. Unfortunately, we have been through traumatic things before, and our staff know exactly how to deal with these situations. And I take my hat off to them because there is so much outpouring of grief that you would understand. And we have to support those people and meet their needs.
Are some of the support people volunteers?
Yes, there will be absolutely support volunteers. Thank you.
So some emails that were sent to the Prime Minister's office and other locations. Could you tell us, like, when was the police informed about this? Did you have enough time to respond to this?
No, by the time we were advised of that email, this attack had taken place.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.